if you could just replicate exactly what you did, that would be great. When you're ready.
Hey everybody!
Yeah. How's it going, Hannah?
It's going. It's good. How's your day going?
Fine. Like, what even was my day? You know what I mean?
Right. This week is a blur.
This week is a blur, and I hate to admit it, but I have that problem where when something's coming, I'm stunted until
That's it.
the thing comes.
And that thing is the Taylor Swift concert.
It's here. It's here, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, when you're listening to this, it's likely that I'm already in Chicago.
It's actually correct. Yes. She'll be here on Friday. Let's do it.
How's your week been so far, Hannah?
It's been okay. I am a little stressed because we were
Mm-hmm.
gone last weekend for
Mm-hmm.
a wedding, and now it's very quickly Wednesday. Tomorrow I have plans. Friday's a half day, and then in Chicago. And then I am supposed to have you back at my house on Sunday. The house is a wreck. Who's to say what it's going to look like? Doing the best we can.
Honestly, it needs to be a wreck. Like that, otherwise, I would be concerned if it were too clean, you know?
Right? Absolutely. Emmett has been tasked with cleaning the toilet.
Well,
Anyway, if we don't want to talk about potties,
so this week we have Dekontee on the podcast.
we
She
sure did.
is a friend of mine from LA. We worked on Parallel together. She's an actor, influencer, all around delight.
Yeah, absolutely. I had such a joy interviewing.
Yeah. So everyone enjoy this, and we'll talk to you on the other side about, well, probably Taylor Swift, you know?
Right. Nice to meet you.
Yay!
Alright, cool. Hi, everybody. Today we have Dekontee on the pod.
Hi.
I know, everyone's first instinct is to always just like wave, and then I go, this is a podcast.
Hey, everybody, look at me.
So Dekontee and I know each other through friends, but worked together on Parallel is how we
Yeah.
first met.
Mhm.
And yeah, got to spend tons of time together last year
So
as we were
much.
filming and,
Mhm.
you know, going through the whole process of the show. And yeah, that I'm so lucky to know you. I mean, I feel really lucky moving straight to LA and being immersed in that and meeting so many cool people.
Mhm. Yay! That was such a fun time. I loved Parallel. Every weekend, something to do. Every
Yeah.
weekend, people to see, something to accomplish. I don't know. I enjoyed the process. It was really hard and intense, but really good, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And I think everyone got to their point where they were like, "Oh my god, like I'm overwhelmed."
Mm-hmm.
But it was nice to like, I don't know, there were enough of us that we were able to sort of spread the weight, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Yeah, and everyone pitched in, like no matter who the person was, if they're an actor, if they're a producer, if they were a crafty person, like everyone did something different. At one point, I was scripty and maybe driving a car. Like I had a big old camera in the back of my little Yaris. It was a time. It was a
It was a
time.
time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, truly an MVP. I swear there were certain days where I was like, Dekontee, I need you to do this, this, and this for me. You're going to 6 stores to get 6 different things.
I was like,
Here's a
okay,
card.
fun. So fun. And it was
Oh,
still a good time.
MVP. Love it.
Loved it. It was so fun.
On the show though, you had several jobs. You're
Hmm.
a performer at heart, you know,
Hmm.
actor, singer, writer,
Apparently now.
model,
Apparently.
influencer.
Here we
All the
go.
lists.
There's
All
some
the lists.
titles.
I don't know where they
Yeah.
all came from.
You start to like accumulate the titles.
I think over time you're like, I should learn this skill because I would like to make more money. And then you learn this skill and then you're like, oh, now I'm this thing, I
Yeah.
guess. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
weird.
And
It's
I feel like
weird.
each skill ends up leading to another title too. It's like, well,
Mm.
I guess if I'm going to be an influencer, I also am going to become a content creator.
Yeah. I said, I might as
Mhm.
well get in the content. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
I have to do this as an actor, so keep acting. I said, oh, I could write some of my own stuff. And then you become a writer. Then you're like, oh, my friend wants me to write on their show. I guess I'm a real writer now. So it's
Yeah,
a lot. It's
right.
just, I think that's how LA is, though, I think. Where it's like you just end up pulling yourself into things like in order to meet people, in order to
Mm-hmm.
survive, in order to just like have fun. You just kind of find your lane in different places along the way, which I think is kind of fun, right? Because like one
Yeah.
day you could be like this, and another thing could be like that, and so I think it's kind of fun.
What was the first thing that you started with? Were you a singer first or singer actor? What kind of
Mm.
got you into wanting to do this with your life?
It's hard. Well, I was little. I think I was a singer first, and
Yeah.
my high school, like I did singing and just choir, like the standing singing choir, and I did in middle school show choir, sort of.
Mm.
Middle school show choir is like not. It's a real thing, but it's not a real
Yeah.
thing. It's like yeah,
Sure.
we did that.
Mm-hmm.
The videos are out there if you find them. And then by high school, my school only had a show choir, so then I was like, I guess we have to learn how to dance, or else we will not be able to do choir. And so I
Yeah.
ended up in choir. And then I was like, the only way I can sing and dance at the same time is to literally do musical theater. So I have to learn how to act. So then I like just ended up falling into musical theater along the way here and there, but like for reals by the time I graduated high school, it was like, I'll do that, musical theater.
What high school did you go to?
So I went to Mayfair High School in Lakewood, California. Go Monsoons. Um, it's literally this. It's like when you think of an outdoor LA high school, that's what it looked like. It was outdoors, no lockers. We had. It's a small town feel, so we shared our football field with Bellflower High School. Super cute. But yeah, I went there. They had a middle school and high school, and I went there for 6 years because of how small our district is. And so I grew up with the
Oh,
same people
wow.
until we graduated. I mean, I talk to some of them now, but like we all like grew up together. Some people went to the community college nearby. Like it was small town Los Angeles. Yeah, super tight knit group of
Yeah.
people. So it was fun.
It's kind of wild the people who like grow up in LA. I feel like that is very much the vibe. It sort of feels like a small town in a weird way, but I think it's
Yeah.
just because it's such a like spread out place
Hmm.
that each little sector has like its, district or whatnot, and it feels small, but it's
Hmm.
also like the second you look at the map, it's actually like
It's
there's so many
huge.
people here.
There
Yeah.
is. And like, I mean, I grew up coming to hang out in Hollywood, all that stuff, and it just felt like another world
Yeah.
because where I am is near Long Beach. I know because it's so big. Long Beach is like an hour away, but
Yeah.
I grew up near Long Beach, so like to go to LA felt like, oh my god, we're going to Hollywood, we're going to the Grove. Whoa, big deal. Whereas
Yeah.
like someone who lives there, they're like, it's not. It's so small. Like it's so even like now I live in Burbank. I'm like Burbank's so small. It's so cute, but you're like you live in the place where Walt Disney has their studios,
Right.
and they're like, oh, okay, never mind. Let me just shut up right now.
Yeah, it's
That is
It's
mind
so weird.
blowing. That's very,
And
yeah.
people grew up here.
yeah.
Like this is people's
Right.
hometown.
That's
It's just so
wow.
weird.
I feel that way too. I didn't start to really notice how much people were that way until I met some people who grew up in Malibu.
Whoa,
And yeah, and they're like, it is a small town. Like if you grow up and go to school in Malibu, it's like you know everybody, you
that makes
like
sense. Wow,
yeah, and it's like
wow.
I I guess I just don't know what it's like to grow up in Malibu.
I didn't know people grew up in Malibu. That's the thing. Like I go to
Me
Malibu
either.
for like fun. Like the fact that people are like, yeah, I grew up here. It's like when people
Yeah.
grow up in Newport, like
Yep.
like the OC.
Yes.
You're like I went to college in Newport, and that is a small town. But like I literally was like, oh my gosh, people like this is not just MTV television show. This is like a real place people grow up. I think people forget that about LA. Like people like have kids and children and like
Yeah.
full lives that are not even actors. Like they're like, yeah, I work at a bank and I have my house.
Y-
You're like, oh, not
Yeah.
everyone here is a performer. Oh, normal people live here too. That's weird, but also
Yeah.
cute.
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
right?
like cute.
Cute.
Like, wow, we
Right.
forget.
The NPC characters, they're just they're the non-player
Yeah,
characters or
yeah, yeah.
whatever. They're just there. Yeah.
It's so funny.
They're just moving around.
Yeah.
Yeah, walking
Yeah.
into walls.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
so
not
funny.
convinced people exist unless I'm talking to them. You know, that whole theory of like,
That's
are you actually the only one there? Or,
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
even thought about
yeah,
that. Ooh.
that'll
Listen.
keep you up at night. So you grew up in Southern California.
Mhm.
What, like, you know, you said it was kind of wild. What was it like though? Like, did you realize, I asked Donnie this question too, because he grew up here.
Oh, it's
And
so
I
fun.
said, did you like realize it was cool growing up here when you were, or were you kind of like, oh, this is just where I'm from? I don't.
I think one thing I didn't think about was cool with my actual city, because to be honest, it wasn't cool. Like, it was like old school. Like, we didn't have like we got an In and Out, I think like 2 or 3 years ago. Like the
Mm.
closest In and Out was
Mm.
like by my high school, which was like a 20-minute drive. There was no Costco nearby. There was no mall. Like it was literally it wasn't it was every city around it was cool, but like the actual city was lame. No offense, love Bellflower. It's cute now. It's cute now. Hipstered out. It's real cute. But like I didn't think my actual place where but I grew up was cool. But I knew that like living near the cool places was cool. Like if I were to
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
go visit some family, to say that I live in Los Angeles County, like people were like, oh, did you see a celebrity? I said, I literally live in the suburbs. Like I don't live by nobody, but I know that you think it's really cool that I like
Yeah.
sometimes on the weekends go to the beach, or like, oh yeah, I bought my clothes at the
Yeah.
Grove. I didn't really buy that much at the Grove. I really did. It wasn't a big deal, but I just you tell people because you know that everyone you know that people think this is a cool place to live. When really
Right.
I lived
Yeah.
in it's a pass through city. Like it's tiny. Like it's just you know it's
That's so
wild.
cool though. I'm still so jealous.
It's a fun time.
Yeah,
It's a fun
right?
time. It's like not like the OC, and it's not like we see on TV. It's truly regular,
Yeah. Yeah.
regular.
What was the first show you were in?
Like musical show.
Yeah.
Well, it was a church musical called Splash Kingdom. I've remembered because it was the first one,
Of
and then I did
course.
Cool.
Cinderella like years later. So those are good ones. Splash Kingdom. I had a
Yeah.
monologue in the beginning. I had a solo at the end. I was there. I was slaying. I was doing amazing. But yeah, I did that, and I did. I think I did like I was the understudy for the evil stepmother
Mm.
in Cinderella. It wasn't Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella. It was like some little kid community theater version of Cinderella.
Got
Made up
it.
songs,
Oh.
never heard of them. But yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I love that. I love the like, yeah, the junior like kid versions of
Yeah.
fairy tales that are not the like well-known ones.
I know.
I don't know if you've ever seen the production of Peter Pan that is the like British version. It's not the one that has like I Got a Crow and all of the well-known
Oh.
songs. It has a whole different soundtrack, and I was in that one. But anytime I put Peter Pan, it's on my resume or whatever, they'll be like, "Oh, so you can sing yada yada whatever," and I was like, "I do not know that song. That was not in the version I did."
I actually
It's like,
don't know
sorry
that.
to disappoint. I know this version. You want to hear me sing?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, "Here is a comparable song to that I did."
So funny. You're like, no, not a clue.
What has been your favorite musical theater play? The play?
Musical.
This is musical.
Sure.
Production, yep. That's it.
There she is. She got
We're
it.
like, we don't know the word.
I think my favorite that I've done are like seen.
Ooh, both. Let's
Okay.
do both.
Done. Done. It's hard to say. Because some of them, like, I love the actual show, but then I was like, I don't think that was my favorite process. But then some of them I like was like, this show, didn't like it. But the people were amazing. I'm trying to think of which one I think was like, wow, to this day, every time I think about the show, I'm like, yes, this is great. Honestly, to this day, maybe. And maybe because I still talk to this cast on a regular basis, it's going to be probably Mamma Mia. I think that's one of the funnest shows to be in. I did it at East West Players. Shout out to East West Players.
Yes,
I did it in
East West
2018. It was like not my first professional show, but it was the first professional show where I was getting paid weekly, and that's a big deal. I was getting paid weekly. I wasn't getting paid like a lump sum, and so that was cool. And it was like an all people of color cast, and I just like had the time of my life. We were slaying, we are dancing, and honestly, I met some of my closest friends, and like a quarter of that cast is on Broadway. So it's like the craziest group of
Oh,
people. Like
wow.
so fun. We have a group message that we still wish each other happy birthday, invite each other to each other's shows. Like it was just such a fun thing, and the show was sold out like every time, every weekend.
Absolutely.
I mean, why wouldn't it's Mamma Mia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah, I was gonna
I
say,
just
why
like
wouldn't
had so
it?
much
Yeah.
fun. It was so cool to like walk outside and be like, wow, there's no empty seats. I think the
Yeah.
second one might have been Adam's Family. I think that was really cool with Miss Terry
Oh, yeah.
Hatcher as our freaking Morticia. She was really nice, and the cast was super fun. Was like when I auditioned, I was like, I don't know if I want to be in the show. Like I don't know anything about it. I'm just gonna go and have fun. And then I ended up booking it, and I was like, oh, well, I have a contract again. But it was just so fun. Like some of my closest friends came out of that show, and I danced in ways that I haven't danced in my life, and my body was in
Yes.
pain. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I literally was like, I didn't think this show was dancey. I didn't know anything about the show. I wouldn't have done it because my body hurt so bad. But I had so much fun.
Yeah.
Crazy makeup, costume changes, the set. And then, like, the last performance was sold out. And so it felt really cool. Like, it was just, like, so fun. It was really fun.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
cool. I love that. And then, what would you say was your favorite to
To
see?
see, which one I had the most fun where I said that was the best? Honestly, there's been a few shows, I think. But my top show, like every time I talk about it, I'm like crying. I think I loved watching Come From Away. It's one of like the greatest shows ever written. I literally nobody cares enough about Come From Away. I've been trying to get on that national tour for the last 3 months, but they will not give me a call back. But that's okay. I'm not mad. But I just
But
love that
that's what you
show.
can do for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's true. Because
Like,
you I'm a
as a,
little too young at this
yeah.
point. And you grow into it. So I'm like, whatever. That show's so beautiful. It's so good. I cry. I like because sometimes you like cry in a show, you're like, oh, that's sad. That show makes you uncontrollably cry by the
Weep.
end. Just
Yeah.
weeping. Like, but like every person next to me, I saw the pro shot and I was like, oh, I have to buy it. And when I came on tour, I watched it and I was like the same reaction. And I listened to the soundtrack, the same reaction. It's it's
Yeah.
insane how good it is. It's so good. Everyone go see Come From Away if you can, the pro shot. And I think the
Yeah.
second one, I think honestly only because I've seen this show twice and I just really love this show is Mean Girls. I love that show. It's so fun. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's got last time I saw it was at the Pantages and I was just like, this is such a funny show. I get the moral of the story and I that is important, but I before that I laughed my head off and I'm like, there's such good dancers in that show. There's such
Yeah.
great singers. People don't think that show is so hard. Like I was watching it, I was like, that show is so difficult and so much energy.
Yeah.
Like it's intense.
Yeah, there's a reason. What's his name? Is that
Yeah,
who did
Casey
it? Yeah,
Nicola, yeah.
who was like, I can't have 18-year-olds in this show because they don't have the stamina to do this show. I have to cast, 25-year-olds to be the leads because it is such a like,
Literally. It's a huge
yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna brag, I auditioned for a show 4 times. And I see why I didn't get it. I said, I don't even know if I have the stamina to do that show. Like,
Yeah.
because the dancers are constantly dancing. Like they're just
constant.
constant. And I'm like, oh, I was like, y'all so good. And they're so precise. And Casey Nicola choreography is just so like precise and fun. And like, I don't know. That's how I feel about prom too. Prom's like similar where you're like, that show, they dance.
Yeah.
They dance.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's so good. So
I always tell everybody it's incredible. Everything you do is incredible on the stage. Whenever you go and see, and it looks so easy, and you're like, you know how hard it is, and you're like, they're doing it so well that it makes it look easy.
oh my
And it's
gosh.
so incredibly difficult. So it's so impressive always.
You're like,
It really is.
and they practice.
Yeah.
They're so good. I'm obsessed.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
It is. It's so impressive.
Yeah, just thinking about musicals now. I'm like,
Musicals. I want to see that. I saw Hairspray a couple weeks ago. That was fun. That little tour. That's a fun show. I did it in college. I don't know. I'm on the fence of would I do it again. I've auditioned and every time I'm like, do I want to do it again? But like when you watch it, you're like, wow, this is actually a really beautiful and awesome show. But again, do I have the stamina to do that show again? I don't know. I don't
it's a tough
know.
one. And
It's a hard one.
I could just watch the movie with Zac Efron and Nikki
I love Zac
Polanski
Efron.
and
I love it.
Amanda Bynes and all of them forever.
And that was a movie that changed the world. I love that movie. That version, I was like, that was the version. That's locked it in. Lock it in.
Lock it
That's
in.
it. That's the one.
Yep.
Perfect
Choices have been
casting.
made.
Yeah. Well, I think I was telling my sister this. I'm like, the moment that changed the world forever with James Marsden's riff on That's Me. I said, if no one does that riff, I'm done. I don't want to see it. And obviously, no one ever does the riff because I don't want to be compared to him. Right. But I'm like, the damage is done. Like, you have to do the riff. Like, it's set in stone. Like, we all were in the theater when it happened.
Yeah.
And we all know it. You better do the riff.
It's
and then,
the
people don't do the riff. It is the only choice, but people don't do the riff. So I'm like,
listen,
I want to see James just do it. Like, I just want him to just do it, like, on TikTok or something. Just like, can you do the That's Me?
Yeah.
Just like for one time.
Just
please.
For us.
Just for us. Just for the girlies.
Just for the girlies. James Marsden.
The girlies.
What a guy.
What a guy. He looks the same. That's so funny. Good for him.
What money can buy.
Wow. What a life he leads. He looks the same. He's still nice. He lets fame get to his head. Ugh. I don't know if he's more famous now than